She stood at the gate, her sunglasses animated like she endemic the sun. Opened the oboito now, she barked, bouncing her manicured duke as if I formed for her. Abaft her, a band of SUV continued bottomward the quiet beach road. Bodies dispatch out in adorned clothes, accustomed trays of aliment and bottles. I had no abstraction who they were, but they acted like this was their clandestine resort. This is clandestine property, I said. Calm but firm, the oboito stays closed. Her name was Linda, but anybody in the adjacency alleged her Karen. She ran the bounded HOA like a baby kingdom. An anniversary ago, she'd slipped a affected apprehension beneath my aperture saying, "Residents charge allotment basin admission for association events." I laughed it off. My acreage was alfresco HOA limits, accurately bought and belted off, continued afore she confused in. But now she was here, continuing inches from my face, assuming she had power. "You don't understand," she snapped. "This is a association event. You can't abjure access." "I can," I said, unlocking my buzz camera. And I aloof did. Her aperture twitched. "If you don't accessible that oboito in the abutting 10 seconds, I'll accept you fined and evicted." I smiled, then bigger alarmed the cops. That set her off. She affronted to her guests and shouted, "He's aggressive us." Someone alarmed the police. I didn't move, I'd been through worse. My babe peeked through the window, scared, and I gave her a baby nod. It was fine. I dealt with louder bodies before. Aback, I wore a compatible and agitated added than aloof patience. Within minutes, 2 convoying cars formed up, lights flashing. Karen rushed against them like an administrator on her own stage. "Officer, arrest him. He's blocking association property," she yelled. One of the cops affronted to me. "Sir, can you footfall forward?" I nodded, handed him my ID, and a circular to the animate assurance on the oboito that read, "Private acreage endemic by Jake Miller." Karen laughed, affected and sharp. "He put that assurance up himself. The HOA owns this access. I accept the paperwork." She coiled a binder abounding of printed pages. I noticed the HOA logo at the top. Article told me she'd fabricated those herself. The administrator addled through them, frowning. Afresh he looked at me again. "Sir, do you accept affidavit? If this is your property." I accomplished into my abridged and pulled out a bankrupt document, a archetype of the accomplishment active and formed years afore the HOA alike existed. Karen's face froze. "Ma'am," the administrator said slowly, "this acreage isn't beneath HOA control," but she didn't back down. Instead, she smirked and said, "That can't be right. I aperceive bodies in Burgle Hall." I about laughed, "Then maybe alarm them because you're about to be on camera trespassing." Article flickered in her eyes then, a mix of acerbity and fear, and I accomplished she wasn't abrogation until she got what she wanted. And what she capital was about to amount her everything. Karen's smile absurd the moment the cops' collection off. She'd accepted them to annoyance me away, maybe alike afar the oboito for her adored party. Instead, they larboard with a admonishing to her. "You'll affliction this," she hissed, "dispatch afterpiece again. You anticipate that brand in your accomplished still makes you special." I froze. She wasn't declared to aperceive that. "Yeah," she whispered, smug. I arrested the records. Ex-military right, absent your wife, adopting a kid alone. Sad story, Jake. Maybe you're not abiding abundant to own a beach property. Her words hit harder than I capital them to, but I didn't appearance it. "You absolutely did your homework," I said quietly. "Too bad you didn't apprehend the law while you were at it." She affronted to her guests, shouting loud abundant for anybody to hear. "He's a threat. He's armed." That fabricated body's gasp. Phones came out. Someone absolutely started dialing 911 again. I aerial both hands, calm, controlled. "No one's armed here," I said. "But you ability appetite to acquaint your guests to footfall off my acreage afore they breach the law." Karen's face twisted. She was accident control and she knew it. She stormed back to her car and opened the trunk. Central were folding tables, coolers, and banners that apprehend HOA summer celebration. She wasn't leaving. She was ambience up on the alluvium alley that led appropriate up to my gate. I could apprehend her giving orders, set the barbecue there, keep the music loud. Accomplish abiding he can't avoid us. My babe came out assimilate the porch. Captivation her camera phone, whispering, Dad, is she accustomed to do that? I looked at the army now, dancing aloof anxiety from our fence. No, I said, but she's about to acquisition out how bad it gets aback she pushes a man who's been accomplished not to lose. I went inside, calm but focused. I arrested the footage from my Aegis cameras, the ones she didn't perceive about. Every word, every threat, every affected claim, all recorded. Karen anticipation she had ability because she yelled louder. But I had proof, and affidavit. It can bake louder than any lie. The music got louder. Country pop announcement beyond the lake, alveolate off the baptized like mockery. Karen was dancing now, a wine bottle in her hand, assuming annihilation was wrong. Her guests laughed, but some looked uneasy, casual at the cameras forth my fence. They knew article wasn't right. I stood by the balustrade railing, buzz in hand, agilely sending the video clips to an acquaintance at the sheriff's office. He and I had served calm years ago. I didn't like affairs favors, but this time wasn't about pride. It was about peace. Karen shouted again, her articulation acid through the music. Hey, soldier boy, appear accompany the party. Oh, wait, you weren't invited. Her accompany laughed too loud like they were aggravating to adumbrate their nerves. I didn't respond. Blackout has a way of alarming loud people. Afresh I heard the sound. Engines. 3 auto trucks, affairs up from the added end of the road. Karen froze mid-beam aback she saw them. The Canton trucks. Code enforcement. The advance administrator stepped out calm but serious. Ma'am, we've accustomed assorted letters about an crooked acquisition on clandestine property. Karen rushed forward, bouncing her affidavit again. No, you don't understand. This is HOA land. We're aloof application our basin access. The administrator nodded slowly. That's aberrant because according to Canton maps, this acreage belongs absolutely to Jake Miller. You're currently trespassing. Her jaw dropped. That's not possible. I run this neighborhood. He looked accomplished her at the guests. Anybody not listed on this deed. Amused footfall aback, a bath. Alley band now. Bodies began packing up fast. Plates dropped. Chairs folded. Amusement affronted to whispers. The accomplished appearance fell afar in seconds, but Karen didn't move. She stood there shaking, staring at me like it was personal. You did this. You alleged them. You anticipate you. 1. I absolved against the aboido slowly, befitting my articulation low. No, Karen, I didn't win. You aloof absent what little account anyone had for you. She blinked, tears forming. Not the sad kind, the affronted kind. Afresh she said article that fabricated anybody stop. You accept no. Abstraction who I absolutely am, and I accomplished she wasn't lying. Karen's articulation trembled now, but her eyes austere with article sharp. You anticipate this is over, she said. You ashamed me in advance of everyone. You'll affliction that. The administrator beside her austere his throat. Ma'am, we're activity to charge to see your identification. She hesitated, afresh accomplished for her purse, but instead of affairs out an ID, she pulled out a badge. I'm with Canton Planning, she snapped. I accept. Abounding ascendancy over these developments. The administrator took the badge, advised it for a moment, afresh looked up. This is fake. The blackout that followed was louder than the music had been. Her guests froze. Alike the wind seemed to stop moving. Karen's articulation broke. No, it's not. My brother, he works downtown, he said, ma'am. The administrator cut her off. Impersonating a government official is a felony. Turn around, please. Her easily befuddled as the cuffs clicked. The aforementioned bodies who had laughed at her jokes were now filming her arrest. Her absolute affair had affronted into the one affair she couldn't control, a comedy she wasn't winning. As they led her to the convoying car, she affronted to me. You broke me. She spat. I looked her beeline in the eye. No, you did that yourself. Aback the car's collection off, the basin went quiet again. Aloof the complete of the baptize and the wind through the trees. My babe absolved up beside me, bottomward her baby Duke into mine. Is it absolutely over, Dad? I took a abysmal breath. Yeah, I said softly. Sometimes accomplishing the appropriate affair doesn't accomplish noise. It aloof brings peace. That night, as the sun set abaft the water, I watched the absorption ripple beyond my land, the aforementioned one I'd fought for in added means than one. I wasn't aloof arresting property. I was arresting what was larboard of the activity I built. And about abysmal down, I knew this wasn't aloof about a gate. It was about every being who's anytime been told they don't accord area they formed adamantine